to become runner-ups. You understand? So that's an achievement also.
They are.
So
I'm not saying they are not. I'm saying
There
they are not.
are.
your 5 minutes is up. Your 5 minutes is up. Bona.
Okay,
So
I'm
they are,
finished.
man.
Okay, let me wrap up. I'm wrapping up.
Okay.
And also, after that, he became involved, lead the youth academy, producing players, until becoming from an experienced coach, producing players like Keegan Dolly, Bob Jem Kwanazi, Jabulani Shongo, and the likes, producing more than 150 players. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, Bikeloza, you're on, Baba. You're on.
I'm on. Thanks. Yeah, that's good. Great choice. Ted Dumitru, Master Ted. He was may his soul rest in peace. Like he was good. He was good. Just that my issue is with Ted. There's those successes. They came with the top three: Sundown, Chiefs, Pirates. That's all that we can name. And if you can check the years that he had all those three, all his success, I think it can be compressed into make it 10 years, not even 10. Say make it 8 years. From 98 when he won the league and until 2004. Most of his success happened during that era. And during that era, all these three teams, they had depth. All of them, they had depth at the time. Chiefs, moreover, they had the best players. The time he was with in Pirates in 99, when you talk about the African Cup, they had depth. Like they were still on their high from the 96 and all. So he is the best player, and the producing those young players, the academy. Yes, he was good in noticing talent, grooming talent. But moreover, what I say on those, especially the ones that you pointed out, these are his successes, your BP top 8 and your Coca-Cola, the mainstay, and all the rest. That was in the period of eight years. Early in when the league started until when the league now was starting to become hot, when it was starting to get hot. Post 25, like the 2005 towards 2010 and past 8, that's when competition was higher. Most teams started having depth. Most teams were now established. They were able to be they were challenging at the time. So here it's at a time where Chiefs, Sundowns and Pirates, they were the ones who were actually on the forefront. I mean, and those are the teams that he used to win. I'm not taking it away from you. He's one of the best coaches, but in argument, his tenure was between 98 up to 2004, which was a point where there wasn't much competition from all the other teams. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
To go to what Buddha is saying, I need to add on to what Buddha is saying. And I'm surprised that so far we've had 2 mentions from Gordon Egerson, and we're anticipating the 3rd. Now, Ted Dumitru, number 1, has 13 titles under his belt. The 13. Now we use an argument, Egerson, that he won the 4 with 4 different teams. But with Ted Dumitru, he won titles with 2 different teams back to back. Ne? Win the Rothman's Cup, win the King, the main thing. So this guy, he's been winning. And another thing, when you look at, let's say, the goals are high, average goals are high. We're talking about 58 goals per season. Ne? If I compare that to Egerson, you're talking about 44.
Yeah, what I mentioned here, remember, this guy has been around from 85. So if you take all the goals, basically when you're going to check an average of goals per season, you're going to take all the goals that have been scored under his career name.
Sure.
Right? So he's got an advantage of having played for longer, meaning, man, back then, go back to 1988, you would have 26 goals in a game. Go back to
Smuda.
1990, you would have 73
Yeah.
goals in a game. They are adding up to the total amount of goals. Wankata.
Yeah, there. Look, I mean, if you are gonna compare Shaka those time, I mean, this guy was born when that could have been his peak. Nah, it's fine. That could have been its peak. Each coach, obviously, depending on the age of the coach, the time he started coaching, and everything, those things they count.
Mm.
So that could have been his peak. I mean, now he's even late. We agree. What Gordon Egerson and others, they might still have chance to do that. But so far, that guy, considering his age, starting coaching at 25 years, and throughout, he comes from somewhere. If you can check Tomilo Kocha from 64, he came in more as 85. All those years.
It can address a point we resting.
Yeah.
The average I gave you is actually, in fact, an average of all the seasons that he coached from 1985 to all the way to when he was coaching Men and Rangers. The teams that he's coached more South Africa. I'm not going to include where he coached outside South Africa. I'll only look at the PSL. Man. So he coached for Chiefs, he coached for Sundowns, he coached for Pirates, he coached for Men and Rangers. Now I took all those games, I took all those the goals that were scored, and an average that he has is 58. Whereas
in the PSL,
Egerson,
in the PSL, wait, in the PSL or including even prior to the PSL,
including the
when you
NSL.
talk about your yeah,
including NSL.
the time when you was going to Coca-Cola.
Yes, including NSL.
Yeah,
including NSL.
Now that's why I get it.
Hey, Merlevela from 1996 from PSL.
Yeah, which means what?
There's
you
an
have
exception.
widened this pool of giving apples to apples.
No, we can take it further, guys. No.
Hey,
We
PSL,
can.
not NSL.
Hey,
Smuda,
Yeah.
you're done, Baba. Kuma man,
thank you very much, Ibrahim.
your time, Baba, your time. Let's go.
All right, gentlemen. In my 5
Bolella the
minutes,
obvious.
I said when we first started, now I looked at all the top 4 coaches. Ne? Some of which you guys have already discussed, were some of my choices as well. But now I'll go on to the next obvious one.
No, okay.
Pito Mosimane.
Continue.
Pito Mosimane, and I'll give you my reasons why he's in my list of the best coaches. Ne?
Is he
Might
your
not
best
be my
on the
favorite,
list?
but he's in my list. Number
No,
one,
no,
Pito
please,
Mosimane
Please tell
doesn't
it.
have any formal
Your
qualification.
best- Your best coach, ne?
He has
What's
a
your best
SAFA
coach?
license.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about the UEFA Pro one. There's some
Oh.
coaches more SA, don't they have?
Nah, I think that's the debate when it comes to why clubs are not hiring local coaches. It's because most South African coaches have the SAFA license rather than the UEFA license. But most
Alright.
say they have
Okay,
the SAFA license and the CAF license.
All right, my reasons for Pito Mosimane. Okay. Number one,
Big Hugh Ivan.
yeah,
Big Hugh.
are you saying something? Okay,
Correct,
number one,
correct.
ne, who set up development, yes, Super Sport United. He was given the task when he started coaching at the age of 31. I think he got joined Mamelodi Sundowns. From Mamelodi Sundowns, he was not the head coach, but Mniga a task to go set up the development, Super Sport United. Super Sport United. He was very successful in that because he was considered one of the best youth training facilities for our players. And amongst Bachuba Nabagaida, I think we've had some your Steven Pinar performing, going out of South Africa and then doing well outside. Your Steven Pinar, you've also had your greats like your Kennedy Rasman. So key product, a product of that youth development. Yeah? From there on, I go Sundowns. And go Sundowns, when he got there, ne, bebanawo amanye ama-titles we-PSL. He got there, he built his team, he was consistent, and he won 4 titles this Sundowns. Yes, he hasn't played, he hasn't coached, he hasn't won it with any other team, but it shows that different players have come in, he's got new players who are able to change and adjust, and then he's consistent. From the same team, Sundowns, Ohambile, Wayago 2016 CAF, he came out at the top. He won the CAF. It was also obviously because of winning the CAF, voted the best coach in Africa. Okay? He also went on to the CAF Super Cup. He won that. And also, African Coach of the Year because of that. That was in 2017. What else? Yeah, I
He's
think
a crybaby.
he's
Cries a lot.
first of all, besides he's a crybaby, he's arrogant. He's arrogant because he knows he can produce results. What finally Jose Mourinho and whatnot, and he's very competitive. And one of his motivators, I remember when he went to play against Gordon Egerton. I just forget which team he was coaching. I also advise Gordon Egerton. And he used that as a driving force. He's very competitive. He's very motivational. What he phone the players are, if you watch Super Sundowns TV, they will tell you. He calls on them. He makes sure the guys are not touching too much. So he's a coach on and off the field. Now I consider him as one of the best as well. He's not my favorite, but I'm touching in Koyena because I mentioned top 4. And already Libuilega Ted Dimitri, Libuilega Gordon Egerton, Libuilega, we haven't really mentioned Kevin Hunt. But I say he's the one for me. Keep it almost a man.
And then he's a big hair.
The crybaby.
Well,
That is it.
Well, now can I say something?
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I understand he's won and stuff. Now I'm wondering if he would go to another team now, what would happen? Because he's only won the PSL with only one team, and no other team. I know it reminds me of the debate Messi or his school Barcelona.
True.
But I'm wondering, Coach Mutito Musiman as a coach, and buying. We know that Sundowns buys players like suits, like they're buying suits.
And only the best.
And only the best.
Only the best players. Like literally, Sundowns would buy teams just for other teams the best players. But I'm wondering what would happen if he would go to another team.
Wait. You are throwing in.
Wait.
I was disconnected. Yeah. Wait. Finish. Finish.
That.
I want to come in as well.
Not for that. I don't really see him as the best coach at this moment from my side. Maybe if in
From
the
your
next 5
side,
years, if he changes teams and wins like others have won with different teams, but this one only one, and most of his cups is won them with Mango's. Yeah.
BK.
Okay. Let me come in today. The one thing yes, he's winning them, his the success, CAF and all these things with Mamelodi Sundowns and all. But I think there's a lot of characteristics and qualities that pick one to become the best coach. I think Ted Dimitri, as you mentioned, he's a legend and all. For me, Pizzo plays dead to start with. So integrity comes in. When you talk about having a best coach, you must talk about having the integrity. Pizzo introduced this thing, you would see, certain somebody is a threat to us. Mr. Chairman, let's get him. And then he's here. Pizzo plays this. He's your coach that will get there and say, no, I want to pack the pass. I'll go in there, put that one goal in and pack the pass. You understand? So that's why I on the top 4 years, you can mention on the top 4 based on success. But then, how do you get that? The question is, how is that success gotten? How did he get that success? He only became successful when he got to Sundown. He had an opportunity with Bafana. What did he do? He had an opportunity there at Bafana. Nothing. He was just useless. He got to Sundowns. When he got to Sundowns, Mr. Chairman said, look, here's 3 trillion rand. Start making Sundowns a success. He got in there. He bought everyone that we would want to be at another team. He got them. He got the best. Look.
Bige, wait, Hanyan. Before Steve, you'll talk. Before I just need to come in on a point that BK made. Go Super Sport, he actually won 2 cups. Win Super 80. Aba winner Nedbank Cup or Super Sport. So,
Cup. Hence I say he tried.
Yes. Stevie?
No. Corey Peter, we're not gonna take anything away from him. Those things are his success. It's already there. When you go to his cabinet, the first thing you'll see is those trophies and what that. It's already on the history books, and then I think at the face value, we're gonna say, wow, this guy has achieved a lot, and that we can't take it away from him. We need as a buyer, CAF, Super Cup, over regular but now then if we then dig deeper, how part of it, how did it come about? Then that's where you see what the air or the breeze was with him, the pocket was with him. This guy, he had an advantage. He had an advantage over other coaches, for him to culminate that success, But as it is, we will not take it away from him. I think he's one of the best of Zanzi's coach, and of course, yes, at how, and then all part of it. That's why it gets interesting to say, okay, so it means he was on a advantageous side with regards to currency, with regards to Zaga, and then that was at his disposal to really formulate a team that is formidable and that comprises of best players.
Guys, let me come in there.
Yeah, come in, Vince.
I need to ask a question. So if we look at top teams generally in the league, and this applies in all the leagues in the world. When you look at top teams have financial muscle. If you go back to Chiefs, like Chiefs in general as a club, it's a big team, and it had top players. They were able to buy top players. Every player dreamed of playing for Kaizer Chiefs. Every player dreamed of playing for Orlando Pirates.
But some of them were snatched at the airport, like no. Some of them were snatched at the airport by another team that has deeper pockets. But that's a story for another day.
I mean, what I'm saying is, I don't want us to create a notion where, if we spoke about Gordon Niggerson, we can give him a section when it comes to Men and Rangers and Santos. But when he was at Pirates and when he was at Sundowns, he also had top players. If you look at Ted Dimitri when he was at Chiefs and when he was at Sundowns, he had top players. Pito Misamani at Sundowns, he had top players. At Supersport, you can say half-half because Kuma mentioned one thing you need to note about Pito is that there were players that came out of his guidance and they were able to go overseas and play for top teams. Supersport was like your IXK club, they were producing players. But when we look at stats as well, I mean, if we're looking at his percentage is 52, so it's below Ted Dimitri, but he's above Gordon Niggerson. He has 11 titles. So when he was at Supersport, you can say Supersport was a stable team in terms of it wasn't necessarily challenging for the league. I mean, there was one season only where they were number 2. They were challenging for the league. But the other season, it was a top 8. So it was that team, it's in the PSL. So you can't say it was an era at SuperSport where it was glorying of recommendation to say this guy's the best. Whereas at Sundowns, he created a dynasty. So now we're looking at the criteria. What criteria now we're losing? Because I think what we need to accept is, as a coach, if you go and coach Pirates, Sundowns, Chiefs, we can't say you don't have the budget. You do have budget.
No, not
Everybody has a budget. Whether Sundowns' budget is bigger than Chiefs or Pirates, that's an argument for another day. But as a coach, when you get to Chiefs and Pirates and Sundowns, you have a budget. And you can't use an excuse to say, it's the same as if you go and coach Pirates and you complain and say, yeah, but I'm not winning because the Sundowns coach has more budget than me. The Kaizer Chiefs coach has more budget than me. No, Pirates fans want you to win. Do your job and win.
But now, Koza.
Yeah, man.
Like I said, you are moving away from my argument. Yes, it's fine. The top flight teams, they are the big teams. Hence, I mentioned the guard Ted Dumitru, he did with the big teams because of their budgets and their pockets and everything. What I'm saying, and one thing, Lungur, I think you're running away from and you're not trying to tackle. Mr. Musimani plays dirty. Period.
What?
He plays dirty. So plays dirty.
I need to
That
know this. How come in all the selections, Kevin Hunt not mentioned? Because by the way, ne?
Yeah, wait.
Kevin
Can I
Hunt
mention something?
Yeah?
We are getting there.
Can I mention something?
Sure.
Because when we're taking this debate somewhere else, that is another topic on its own of it. Wait, you're going personal. We are being personal now.
Yeah, guys, no, Stevens is right?
Well,
You say you are not taking it away from him. He's one of the best coaches.
So it's fine.
Let's stick to that. We're discussing best coaches now. Now we're going to deep into his dirty tricks and his ruthlessness. Competition out there, and you do what you need to do to survive and stay at the top. It's survival of the fittest. You know. So he does what he does to get onto the net to get the result that he's looking for, and that's why he's the best.
Yeah,
and he's one of the best. It works.
Okay, no, then Koza, through you, maybe let's shrink it down. Ne? Let's shrink it to PSL titles. And then let's look at the top 5, if not the top 4.
No, wait.
Koza, I think Koza has at least
wait. Steve, wait.
5 minutes.
No. Koza is still coming. Let's wait for it.
I think the thing is,
for Koza, 5 minutes.
Wait for Koza.
We can't shrink it to just only PSL title. We must look at, remember, when I said PSL coach, for argument's sake, man, you've got coaches who win domestic titles only. Like, let's say Body Nedbank Cup, Telkom, MTN, and they don't win leagues. Are you then saying they're not good coaches? Bobo?
No.
So we can't just restrict to just the PSL title.
Thank you very much.
Exactly.
I think it's a choice of words from Stevens. Stevens wanted to say, let's keep it to the PSL era, not PSL title. Like Steve. Yeah, I think that's the word you were looking for.
No, I have my reason why.
Let's hear Mr. Koza's.
Let's speak. Okay, Koza.
Let's hear Mr. Koza's 5 minutes, and then we'll end out.
Mr. Chair was clear with this, guys. Wait, Mr. Chair was clear with this when he called for this debate.
Okay, so let me throw a name.
Koza, can't you have your 5 minutes before we indulge further?
Yeah, let me throw in a name, which, according to me, is at the top of the pile, in terms of stats.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, the names mentioned, Gordon Niggerson has 4, Pizzo has 4, Ted Dumitru has 4 in terms of PSL titles. Kevin Hunt has also 4, so they're all joined with 4 PSL titles.
Yeah.
But if we look at cups, I mentioned Pizzo has 11. I mentioned Ted Dumitru has 13. I mentioned Gordon Igerson has 6. But when you look at Kevin Hunt, you're talking about he has also 7. Let's say, for instance, okay, if I look at the goals average per season, because he didn't only coach vets. He went and coached Hellenic, he was coaching Black Leopards, he was coaching Morocco Swallows, obviously he coached Super Sport. Remember the treble when he won the back-to-back titles of Super Sport. Ne? So this guy is a proven serial winner. Yeah, well, his teams, they have goals. He's defensively solid. I mean, if I'm looking at the goals conceded per season, you're talking about 80. And this is including all the teams that you can name as small team, Bo Hellenic, Bo Mama, who are facing relegation. But overall, this guy, we're talking 30. Whereas if I'm looking at other guys, you're talking about Boma 32. I think the only coach who beats him in terms of defensively, surprisingly, is Pito Musiman with 25 this season. Ne?
Yeah,
But
by
in
parking the
general-
bus.
but what we've also seen is that I guess then we spoke about coaches who went to top teams like your Sundowns, your Chiefs and Pirates and were able to win. Gordon Eggerson hasn't had the opportunity to coach those big teams, but he was able to bring success at SuperSport. He was able to bring success at Vets, which was their first ever PSL title. Ne? So he's definitely, I mean, and he's young. I mean, the guy's only 55. So he's still got maybe 10 more years to go.
Yeah, Marcosa, you must remember, his successful SuperSport came in at a time where SuperSport actually injected money to go out and buy players, hence his success. So it goes back to that, having the funds available to do that. So basically, this it all just goes down to funds. You must check how the SuperSport go win more. It's when they went out and started buying, actually going into the market and purchasing players. How he eventually won that.
Let me challenge your statement, BK. Ne? This is not just closed to South Africa, but in the world as well. Having a budget is one thing, but winning is another. Because we've seen coaches who had budgets, but they failed. They didn't win. Ne? You can, let's say if we're looking at the big spenders as Sundowns, we've had coaches coming in and out at Sundowns who had no success, but they had all the money, they had all the players. You can say the same thing when you look at, let's say, Chiefs as well. You had Kompela coming in. Now you can argue and say Kompela didn't have the budget of others, but the thing is he was at Kaizer Chiefs, so he had a budget. He didn't have success. Same as other coaches who were there who didn't have success. Same as Pirates who had coaches who didn't have success. You have Micho, who in the past 3 seasons has bought more players than any other PSL club, but he still didn't have success. You know? So as much as you can have buying power, it comes down to you as a coach, how you manage players, your philosophy. Do players believe in you? Are you able to bring out the best in players? And so far we've seen that with Gavin Hunt, he's able to bring out the best in players. Bo Tulani Khachwai, Bo Shanti, Bo Ben Umtswari, who's now at Pirates. He was there at SuperSport playing under Gavin Hunt. Pule, he was there. Vilagazi, he was there. Harayaku SuperSport, yeah, Gavin Hunt. You're talking about Bo Pelembe. You're talking about Bo Taylor. So you had top players who are performing, who now we can go back and look at and say, hey, that player is a top player. But where were they before Gavin Hunt? Did you know about those players before?
No, I hear you, because
what I'm saying is that don't rule off as a team. Because it's a top team because of the like how the criteria we're using for top teams was in terms of funds available. So what I'm saying, Gavin, those successes when he was doing the treble there and got that is when SuperSport went out and injected funds to say now they went out and bought. They went out on a buying spree. Hence, he had his successes. So at that period of time, they actually their spend budget was in line with those big teams. So he was part of the big teams at that time. So when you say he didn't push the big names, like it's like saying the Leicester coach never coached a big team, but he had the support from management. You understand what I mean? He had the support from management in terms of coaching there. So the funds were available. He had the budget similar to those of both Chiefs and Pirates at the time. So they were a big team at the time. So regardless of he wasn't with a household name, but also remember Matazanta is a household name as well. It's a big team.
Sure.
Vets is a big team. It's an old and big team. So you can't rule them out and say he didn't get an opportunity to play. It's like saying Menin Rangers was not a big team. It was a big team at the time. You understand? So he had the same opportunity, the same buying power as all the other coaches who were at Chiefs, Sundown, and Pirates.
I think also the thing here is success. I think success is rated different per team. I mean, Sundown success cannot be compared to Boma which team? Boma Golden Arrow success. Some other teams' success it's rated different. I mean, every coach when you sign a contract, you are given objectives and goals. And some teams like Ochipa, their success will be like your objective just reach top 8. Just reach top 8, and then for them is the biggest success. But now for a team like Sundowns, what Chiefs or Pirates, success is not top 8. Success, you have to win the league.
The World Cup.
You have to win the World Cup. And so we can't really per se to say success is measured against cups won, because now
but that's the success of a team, not of
and
a
then and a different success. And also as a coach, in a team, we're saying as a coach, we can't measure your success only based on the number of trophies you have on the cabinet. I think also one name that pops out, I think one of the coaches, they are not really recognized. The guy like Eric Tinkler. Eric Tinkler, I think he's also one of the hardworking coaches recorded. Though he
but we're talking about best coaches here, Stevie. Let's not be modest and try and.
No. Thing is, you had a homework. Homework was best coach. It was your job to go and check on every aspect and make a final decision. You did your homework. You made your final decision based on having trophies with different teams. That's it. So don't blame the chairperson.
No, I'm not blaming the chairperson. I'm not blaming the chairperson.
You had a homework.
Stevie, let me. The thing is that Stevie, if from the 4 coaches we mentioned, what they all have in common is they are winners, PSL titles. They've won cups, And I guess you can argue that that's how you measure a coach success, And then whether you say you want to define what success is, whether success is winning cups or producing players, then I guess you can throw in a lot of names. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, one needs to ask the question, as a coach, if you were a coach, what is your pinnacle? Is you producing players or is you winning cups? Winning. Because that's what coaches are inspiring to do. As much as we can look at Eric Tinkler and all those, Eric Tinkler will tell you now, he wants to win. He doesn't want to
and that is why you would find a team firing a coach, because they are not winning titles.
Yes. So
Chipa will tell you. Chipa has the best philosophy. A coach is someone who wins. If you don't win, you are out.
Simple.
Chipa has it straight. Simple. That's success. And it's this thing. That's why Stevie must not start being modest and all. You understand? He's derailing from the purpose of this. Yeah, we're talking about the best coach. It's not like we're going to say who's the best player in the world. Is it Messi or Ronaldo? And then you come here and tell me, no, Junior Kanye is if you look at it, what criteria? There's no criteria for Junior Kanye. Fact of the matter is Messi and Ronaldo are the best.
I think
standard, simple.
At the
So
end of the
even
day,
here, the coaching staff, there's 4 greats that we've spoken about
But
because of
let's agree it's
the
subjective.
chess throwers.
It's subjective.
That's success. In football,
It's subjective.
success. Don't tell me about inner beauty and success is the trophies on the keys.
I'm saying
Big
the
A,
best coach
this guy is big. Steve is trying to throw a spin into this thing. Yeah, now we gave him the homework to give us the best coach in the PSL, and he went for success. You can't then come now and tell us about the inner beauty. Hey, you went for success.
Inner beauty. No.
Exactly. No, you are right. What I'm saying, it's
Are you
subjective.
changing your mind? Are you changing
Well,
your
when,
mind?
because, no, you are right. In this case, I went for success, yes. But what I'm saying, it's subjective. Who's the best coach is subjective, based on different elements.
I think that
One
our
other
debate.
coach. Can I say something before we leave on a lighter note?
Yeah.
Most underrated coach, Jomo Sono, all around.
You know what?
Bus driver, caretaker, he does the washing, he does everything. He's his
know
own
what?
scout, Yonkido, Jomo Sono.
One thing
And then coach no Bamuza Sono, his own son.
One thing I'll give with Jomo Sono is that he has produced so many players for South Africa. He has a good eye. He has a good eye.
Defenders.
No,
Yeah.
Defenders.
true.
He produced so many defenders. Get the job done.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thanks for the debate.
So, Biano, who's your best coach?
Who's my best coach?
Ella, we've been waiting.
Obvious.
Now, currently, I would have to go for Ted Vermeet.
Okay.
Ted Vermeet.
Why?
I mean, look, he was unfortunate that he lost finale against Al Ahly. But he has proven, and I mean, from bringing successful Chiefs the way he did, Chiefs was scary under Ted Vermeet. The way they were playing, the goals, same thing for Sundowns when he was there. Sundowns was scary under Ted Vermeet. So, and look, he's got 13, so he's got more cups than all of them domestically. I guess Pito comes in if you include Kef as well, but domestically he's number one. And I like the fact that his teams have goals and goals and goals. So yeah.
Okay.
But anyway,
Right.
Pito's still my favorite. But Ted is still number one.
Of course.
Yeah. Don't start that one. Don't start that one. Please, let's finish off on a good.
So guys, it's on.
No.
So,